That's great.
All right, first question here comes from AA Mag 32 on X. He says, big fan of the show, lads. How can the Chargers fix their second half woes?
Ooh.
I will say, or I guess I want your take on this first in terms of halftime adjustments and like how much that's on the coach, how much is just kind of random, and what's at play there for an offense?
Halftime adjustments are the biggest indicator of a good football coach.
Sure.
Obviously, creativity is big in developing a first 15, but we know that they get paid too. Those defensive guys, they're going to make adjustments. And when you're hitting your head on the door for the first 15 plays, you get the sense that in 2 quarters, we're going to have to change some stuff up if we don't have the ability to do it in a quick fashion on the sideline. So for the Los Angeles Chargers, I mean, I have the utmost faith in their coaching staff. I feel like the self-scouting is there. Mark Trestman, one of the most brilliant minds in offensive football there is. Jim Harbaugh, unquestionably a great football coach. I think that the Chargers are going to be fine, but it comes down to those adjustments. And as you go later in the year, you play better football teams with better defenses and better coaches. And the chess match, because you take it from rookie level chess to, medium, expert. And as you get later in the year, all these people know their weaknesses and their strengths. You're going to get their best stuff. It just all comes down to halftime adjustments.
To me, just Chargers specifically, what I've seen is early on in the game, you have great balance. I looked it up. Their run-pass balance in the first quarter is 50-50. Run-pass in the third quarter when they come out, because they've been playing with a lot of leads, obviously, is like 65-35 run-pass. They just go and lean into the running game. When you have a quarterback who's taking care of the ball better than anyone else, I think that's the biggest thing is come out in the second half, and they're playing as if they're just trying to hold on to a lead when they should be saying, we have a grand opportunity here with a lead to get teams in looks that we know they're going to try to stop the run. They think we're going to sit on this ball. We got Justin freaking Herbert.
Yeah.
We can put it in his hands and know that he's going to keep us on schedule still and know he's not going to make the big turnover that costs the game.
First time I heard Cooper Kupp talk about playing with Matt Stafford, he talked about going out there and throwing with him, in the offseason.
Yeah.
And he said that even like a 15-yard out it was just a long handoff for Matt Stafford. And to your point about Justin Herbert, if you get those looks that are advantageous and you can throw the football, throw them. That's
let them open it up.
I think that's part of the issue, right? And we know this, Kyle. Sometimes it's the Jimmy and Joes, not the X's and the O's. Like we saw the last week versus Atlanta in the first half, Matt McConkey was tearing them up in the middle of the field. Well, obviously Atlanta made some adjustments. Then it's like, who do you lean on? Right now, Josh Palmer made some big throws, but Quentin Johnson has struggled to them, right? So like, if you're Herbert and you keep going to him and he keeps dropping the ball, like that hurts you in the second half when it comes to that too. And then I feel like they've also lost their explosiveness in the run game when they lost J.K. Dobbins. Love Gus Edwards, but he just doesn't have that burst that J.K. Dobbins has. So I think that's why it's really hurt them in the second half. They've been great in first half, right? Whether it's Lad McConkey or earlier in the season when it was Quentin Johnson being able to hit those drag routes, those over the middle plays and catch the football. But Johnson has to be big for them coming down the stretch, or they have no chance in the playoffs.
If we're coaches and Quentin Johnston has all those drops, it's only human to say, I'm not pressing the circle button anymore. You know what I mean? Like when I drop back,
going to him.
That's because Justin Herbert is brilliant, and he understands that where they're going, they're going to need him.
They need him, so they have to keep going.
But I understand from the coaching circle.
You've seen it though. Like he's got a real rapport with Will Dissly, and a lot of people thought he was going to be more of a blocking tight end. But the funny thing is, when he was at Seattle, he was a receiving tight end. They kind of made him into a blocking guy, and now going to Harbaugh, they expected him to block, but when you have Justin Herbert, he was like, well, I can take advantage of this guy down the seam. So he's leaning to him. He's leaning to Josh Palmer a little bit more these last couple games. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chargers go down the stretch because, to your point, Quentin Johnston is going to be big. They need him if they plan on making a run in the playoffs.
All right, next question comes from Ed Helinski. He says, should Rex Ryan get another head coaching gig? And if so, what's a good fit for him and his circus show?
Go back to the Jets now.
His circus show. That's incredible.
He's a great leader of men. I know it would mean a lot to him for the Jets. I just don't know if Woody, and I say Woody Johnson would go back down that history with Rex Ryan in regards to hiring him again. I think Rex would be a great D coordinator somewhere, though, without a doubt. Say that somebody does bring, an offensive-minded guy into the Jets, or even if You bring like a guy like Aaron Glenn. I think Rex would be a great defensive coordinator. Those two great defensive minds together. It would mean a lot for Aaron Glenn too. He was a player at the Jets as well. Rex just gets the best out of his defense, play in and play out. He's a great leader of men. Guys run through a brick wall for him. And we've seen this before, right? Vance Joseph, right, was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. A couple of years later, he comes back as a D coordinator. They have one of the top defenses in all of football. So I don't see Woody going down that road again with Rex, but I would love for Rex to be a defensive coordinator. And then maybe if in the future presents itself for him to be a head coach, then it makes a lot of sense.
Rex Ryan, defensive coordinator, Chicago Bears.
That would be amazing.
His old man was there.
Yeah.
Had a historic defense, the 46 defense. Buddy Ryan's defense was dominant.
That would be amazing.
It would be
You
cool.
guys got the bodies, too, to do it.
Come on.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bring an offensive mind in there.
I just find it difficult for anyone to go out on a limb and say, let me give him a head coaching job after 8 years away from the game.
Has it been that long?
Is he a guy that
Right,
you
it
think
was
could
the
step in
Buffalo.
and adapt to today's locker rooms?
It was already in today's locker room back in the day. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, but it's 8 years. I mean,
yeah.
that's a long time.
But that's why I said D coordinator, I think, makes a lot more sense.
All right, next one comes from Jeremy Muse. He says, given the need at all three spots, who would you pick as the Pats GM?
Campbell.
Campbell, McMillan, or Johnson?
I just know he's the best O-lineman.
Yeah, Campbell. Will Campbell. It's Will Campbell, the offensive tackle for LSU. Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, and then Will Johnson, the cornerback.
This is an interesting one. I mean, they need offensive line in the worst way.
Yeah.
So I think Campbell makes the most sense. But T-Mac's an interesting one because they don't have anybody on the roster that's currently like him.
I agree, and I think he fits Drake May to a T
For
in
sure.
how he wants to just play the quarterback position, give guys chances.
Yeah.
Throw those contested
Like
catches.
when he had
So good
Taz
at.
in North Carolina.
Yes.
Do you value a mute button at the offensive tackle position or a guy that's a scheme fit at the receiver position more? What benefits your quarterback more?
The tackle, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you're,
'Cause I know my
if you're
answer.
looking at that roster, where's the biggest value at? It's that tackle.
Tackle for sure.
they're
Protection.
Trash. So I do think that Will Campbell probably the best.
Yeah.
It's the problem
Did
is
he go top three?
well, you're hoping you're not drafting top three if you're the Pats, right? But
It might be.
it's not a great. There's not like you're passing on a blue chip guy if you draft someone else. So I do think Campbell could just purely based off of the need. I don't think he's that caliber of a prospect like a Penei Sewell.
Correct.
It's just a different class.
He's just a really solid player.
Whenever I read
He's
Pat's GM, I
It's
just
like a
assume it's
super
still
high
Bill.
floor guy. May not be, rookie offensive tackle. It's difficult to be a Rashawn Slater, but I think he could be not even a Kyle Long or Larry Warford. I think he could be
Maybe
solid.
Glitchy.
I think he could be better than anyone they have right now as a rookie. So I'd probably lean Campbell, but I think firmly Campbell or McMillan is where your head's at if you're Eli Wolf.
Does the Will Johnson foot injury concern you?
Yeah, I mean, lower body injuries for a corner, right, are always very concerning. So it does, especially because he's not that fast to begin with. And
he hasn't played in forever.
Yeah, so that's definitely concerning. We'll obviously get combine checks and whatnot on him. But I think specifically for the Pats, you are going offense in this year's draft, and you're going offensive free agency.
Campbell, better pass blocker or run blocker?
Gosh, I mean, I'd probably say
Good question.
pass protection.
I would say
at this
pass
point.
protection.
Well, then that's it. I mean, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
He has short arms, though. He's going to have that conversation of is he a guard or a tackle? I think he's still a tackle.
That's tough.
But it's not like, again, this isn't a –
He's got the footwork to be a tackle.
yes, that's the thing. He can move.
Length is strength, though. I mean it. If you're a guy that doesn't have that elite arm length at the tackle position, you are going to be sledding uphill.
Yeah.
I think the way they're playing now with the rushes, though, you just got to move. You got to be an athlete at tackle with the blitzes you're seeing. You just got to be able to react inside, outside very quickly.
I just think about trying to keep a guy like Myles Garrett away from me as opposed to, I don't want Myles Garrett here. I want Myles Garrett over there.
Where that great sign is.
Rushing against the other side, actually.